Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Truth webinar series. And today we're extremely excited to have a very special guest with us, Brett Cameron, who is the General Manager or Head of Old Mutual Rewards. I'm going to introduce Brett just now. So to everyone who's joined us, thank you very much for giving up your time. Don't know how many of you are in Cape Town, but it's a blustery, rainy day, and I've got a roof that makes a lot of noise. So if the rain kicks in, you'll know that it's really started here in Cape Town. So in these very turbulent times in South Africa at the moment, I think it's always good to put our feet on the ground and celebrate some successes. So we thought it was absolutely the right time to introduce to the broader world of loyalty, not that he needs much introduction, Brett Cameron. So I'm going to give you a very short background to Brett, but I think when we do the interview about Old Mutual Rewards, Brett's experience will really come out. So Brett is actually an actuary by trade, and that makes an awful lot of sense when I think through the performance of what I know of Old Mutual Rewards program, and has been in the financial services industry for over 20 years. So a real experienced executive in the industry, which he's now heading up one of the leading loyalty programs. So Old Mutual Rewards was highly commended last year in the 2020 South African Loyalty Awards, and we wish them all the best for 2021. That process of the judging is starting very soon for the 2021 Loyalty Awards. So amongst other things, I mean, Brett has led a lot of initiatives within financial services and in the Old Mutual stable, and I think he's super excited to be able to share with us how now at the sort of pinnacle of deliveries we can actually all experience Old Mutual Rewards. So we do have a couple of slides, but I'm actually going to switch them off because I'd much rather just have the face-to-face interview with Brett. So Brett, if you'd like to switch on your camera, we'd love you to now join us. Great. So it's always great now.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. It's great with these webinars these days because everyone gets a quick insight into your home and the artifacts sitting behind you, and it's always a story to tell. And recently, you were interviewed by a partner of myself, Paula Thomas, and myself are partners in the Customer Strategy Network. Those of you who don't know Paula, she runs the Let's Talk Loyalty podcast, and she interviews leaders in loyalty. So it's great that we saw another South African leader being interviewed by Paula in her podcast series. So if you like what you hear today and you want to know more, Brett did a stunning interview a few months back with Paula on her podcast series. It's easy to find. It's just Let's Talk Loyalty, and it's Paula Thomas. So yeah, that was great. And we've been talking for a while about connecting about Old Mutual Rewards. So it's just great timing that we're following on from your interview with Paula. So Brett, without further ado, I think maybe not everybody understands the history of Old Mutual Rewards. It's a relatively new program. So let's go straight in. Can you give us a quick history of it?
Sure. I was just looking at the date, and we launched the program to the market basically almost exactly 3 years ago, in the middle of July 2018. So, yeah, a very new program in South Africa. I think that was kind of what I was so excited to talk to Paula about. The South African loyalty industry is really innovative, really fascinating. Lots of great programs across different industries in South Africa, and it's nice for Old Mutual to be participating in this space at long last. So I mean, the recent history is 3 years old. I think it's interesting that Old Mutual hasn't actually introduced a loyalty program until now, and so many of our competitors have. I like to say we have made a few attempts in the past, and this was probably the third time lucky that we got something out that's been launched and been able to grow. We now have grown to 1 million members.
Wow.
Just over 3 years. I think that's been a fantastic growth rate.
Yeah.
It means so far about 20% of our customers are members of the program, and yeah, looking forward to how it grows in the next few years. We expect it to keep growing at quite a pace. But I'm also really excited about the platform we've established. It's a strategy, I think, that Old Mutual can leverage in so many ways, and we can use it to build much closer relationships with our customers. the program as it is today, I'm sure is exciting, but who knows exactly what it'll look like in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. And I'm really excited to see how that journey will evolve for us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I often get asked, so what is the loyalty landscape for the next 5 years? I'm saying, flip, if I knew that, I wouldn't be sitting here every day working so hard, I think, because it's such a changing environment. I mean, there are no long-term predictions because it changes as quickly as technology and customer behavior can need it to change. So lovely to see such great numbers. I actually also didn't realize it was 3 years old. So, and to see that 20% of your actual customer database are engaging in the program. We do see in retail environments that touches, after about 3 years, that can reach up to about 67%. But obviously retailing's different, right? You know, you get asked at every transaction. So I think in financial services terms, that's 20% is incredibly impressive. So let everyone understand more. I mean, we understand the program, and I'll tell you why we understand the program, because it's our job to, but also because we quote you often in some elements when we're trying to explain to future clients what some great best practice would look like. So the Truth team know how your program works, but probably not everything. So can you give the audience an overview of how simply a customer can engage in the program and how they can earn and burn with you?
Great to be here. We've been used as a case study already. It's we feel really like the new kids on the block sometimes, but I think we have deliberately done quite a few things differently to our competitors. And to give you an overview of the program, how it works, we've decided to choose a points currency dynamic as the main structure of our program. That's our members can earn rewards points that they can spend at a range of partners. We've created an open program. While you can reinvest those points back into Old Mutual and into your savings, recognize that's not always the most exciting things to do. And we've introduced a number of partners to give our customers options of how they can use their points. There's been very kind of interesting planning that out, because Old Mutual's customer base is so broad. We've got to think about very low-income customers living in rural areas to high net worth individuals. And our challenge has been to find something that appeals to everybody. So we've got quite a broad range of partners where people can spend their points on fuel at Total, pharmacies at Dis-Chem, groceries at Shoprite and Checkers, Sportsman's Warehouse. We've got fast food partners, things like airtime, basic rewards like that, even some donation options for people who just want to give away their points. But yeah, the most appealing one for some of our customers, and the one that's most unique, is being able to actually reinvest them back into their savings. And that kind of talks to the theme that we've built around our mutual rewards. We've made this more than just a direct rewards program. It's a financial well-being program in a sense, and we've added to our proposition. So we want to work with you as our members to give you a few more things to engage on than just being a non-mutual product holding customers, saving and doing their insurance with us. But we want to work with you on your financial well-being, help you work towards your financial goals, and help you achieve your financial dreams, and give you tools to do that on the way, and almost motivate you on that journey. So you can earn points for a range of things, whether it's engaging with financial education, learning about finances, which has been really, really interesting to see how people have really taken that on board. We offer a number of tools and calculators and assessments people can use to get insight. Some of them, the really exciting things for me is you can get a free credit report with Old Mutual Rewards, and give you points for accessing that. I think that's a fundamental tool to get insight of where you're at financially and where you owe your money and how to get on top of it. Old Mutual's also got a really interactive budgeting tool called 22/7, which is almost a fintech startup Old Mutual bought a few years ago and has continued to develop. And we give our members points for doing their budgeting every month on 22/7 using that tool. It's really nice when all these things play together. People start using the insights and the tools and really start shifting their financial behavior. And ultimately, all these journeys lead to putting financial solutions in place, getting the savings they need, getting the insurance they need. And hopefully with Old Mutual at the end of the day, although we don't force them to, but if they do put the solutions in place for Old Mutual, then we reward them for that too. And that's probably where the majority of the points get generated, is on the financial products that customers have with Old Mutual. We give them a percentage of their premium as points, and they can also tier up on this part of the program. So the more products they have with Old Mutual, the more financial needs they've got with Old Mutual, that gets them onto a higher tier, and the higher tier increases the earn rate they get.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the kind of program overall.
Lovely. It's great to see. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, so you've helped answer it already, actually, was around how much you're incentivizing, rewarding for that non-transactional behavior. So elements such as the financial education, downloading a credit report and so on, which is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, one of the big questions in the industry, actually, when I talk with other practitioners about this non-transactional activity, is how do you measure the return on investment? So it's obviously measurable if the client's taking out products and they're giving them percentage of premiums and so forth. But for those non-transactional activities, how do you measure that investment that you're making an investment by rewarding for that behavior?
Yeah, it's crucial to us, and it contributes in so many different ways. I think everything together really makes it powerful and valuable to us. I think maybe also a comment up front is that it's something that resonates with Old Mutual's brand. Old Mutual is known for supporting people with their financial dreams, and more than just sort of selling products and being a financial service provider, but actually being a trusted partner of our customers. And so it really resonated with our brand, and part of the reason we chose it as the theme. The kind of direct financial benefits of it is that we're hoping we're creating better customers through engaging with the better financial behavior. They're customers who, when they speak to a financial advisor, will be more aware of their financial needs, more ready to buy from them. And it makes the financial advisor's job a whole lot easier at the end of the day if they've got effectively a very warmed up customer who knows what they want and knows why they want it. So it brings through the sales very well. We have some really great stories of people who've joined our program with nothing in place, and they engage with these tools, they engage with the financial education, and they a few months later they're saying, oh, I'm on the top tier, I'm on tier 5, it's opened my eyes into the insurance I need, the savings I needed to have, and I opened a banking product with Old Mutual, and they've actually put everything in place. But it helps in a few other ways as well. I think an important lever for us in financial services is the stickiness of our customers, and just making sure that you're able to afford to keep paying your premiums once you start on these financial savings plans. Is about sticking to it, and a lot of the tools kind of support that as well, so that you remain committed and keep paying your premium. And then the kind of last benefit for us is more of a softer one. Is as a financial services company, we don't often engage with our customers, and it's a bit of the sad truth of financial services. Our customers kind of sort of sometimes criticize us for saying, well, you speak to me when you sell me a product, and then I think the only time I hear from you again is when I need to claim. It's not the best experience. We do better in many cases. Financial advisors engage with their clients on a regular basis, at least once a year. But in the modern world, that frequency of engagement is critical. And the rewards program just generally really helps support that connection with customers. And the financial wellness tools as that non-product type earn is actually critical to what we do. If we didn't have it, if it was just about the premiums you pay every month, it wouldn't be that engaging. And adding these extra extra elements into the program is actually really critical. I don't think the program would survive without it.
I think, Brett, what we've seen from afar, obviously we're not involved with any intimacy at all other than just keeping an eye on the industry, is you're doing what we hear so many businesses say they intend to do. I mean, if I could count the number of financial services firms who we've had discussions with who say we want to help our customers be educated in financial services, or just their general savviness around understanding their own finances so that they better invest, so that they better insure and save for their loved ones. But I haven't seen anyone else do it quite like this. So I just want all kudos. You've done it, and it's a short space of time since you launched. So it's great. It's really fascinating. It's great listening to you, because I can hear from what you're saying, the depth of the ethos of the proposition is really coming through, aligned to the Old Mutual brand. So lovely. It's great to listen to this. One of the other questions I wanted to ask you was around the use of data. So obviously you're collecting data from these non-transactional activities. Talk us through as much as you can without parting with too much confidential information, how much you're able to use the data, how powerful it is, and so forth.
That's a very interesting discussion for us, because data is often a reason for many companies to start loyalty programs, particularly in the retail space, even the airlines. I think that was probably for the primary motivation airlines started loyalty programs in the first place. They wanted to find out who their customers were and to track the frequent customers over time. Where we sit in financial services, we don't really have that direct motivation. We know quite a lot about our customers already. We know their banking details because they're paying us premiums. We know about their family because we know who's insured and who the beneficiaries are. So there's a fair amount of knowledge we have, but it's this kind of detailed insight knowledge which we miss. And loyalty programs are so powerful at gathering a lot of behavioral information, which is very rich to get a better understanding of our customers. And it can be used in so many ways. I think our immediate focus has been on more personalized marketing to customers, and we're doing lots of work building all sorts of prediction models behind the scenes, which saying, depending on all the questions you've answered in the rewards program and your historical behavior and the solutions you have with us and what we know about your financial plan, we're using that to find ways to recommend sort of next best actions for our customers, the next solutions, and try and make it more and more relevant. So the more relevant we can make it, the more likely the customer is to act on that. So, yeah. So that's one use of it. The other one ultimately will be to see, well, is it information that we can use to price better, and can we get more competitive pricing based on having a richer understanding of the customer's profile?
Yeah, I mean, but these kind of strategies that you're referring to are what I think every program owner dreams of being able to do, and we see some brands doing it successfully, and we certainly see the personalization and predictive modeling coming through in a lot of the retail work. All of the big retailers, I think, who have loyalty programs are starting to use their data superbly now. But this takes some fairly sophisticated technology. So I know that the company behind your base platform were the winners last year of the South African Loyalty Awards loyalty technology provider, Comark. So I'm assuming that a lot of that capability runs from a sophisticated platform, whether it's Comark or your own input as well. So I think it'd be really useful for the audience to hear a little bit about that, because we all have these pipe dreams of why a loyalty program and let's do great analytical AI, you know, all the automation and so forth, but actually executing it is extremely hard.
Yeah, definitely, and I don't think we're where we would like to be yet. There's a lot of learning we still need to do, but yeah, I think Comark is a very interesting story for us, because when we decided to set up the program, we looked around for a technology partner, and I think partly to do with the timing of when we were launching the program, there were quite a few established companies providing loyalty platforms like Camargue. And it puts us in a very different place to many of our competitors. Many of our competitors who launched their programs 20 years ago ended up building their technology in-house. They're sitting with maybe inflexible and legacy technology that's hard to change and maybe doesn't have all the latest flexible features, whereas having a third party who's integrates learnings from so many different programs around the world has brought us lots of different ideas and capabilities that are quite easy now for us to implement. And they've got some ideas with data. They even themselves are providing some consulting services to us and doing some AI projects. So we've got a project with them at the moment, which is looking at fraud, and they're analyzing our data, trying to pick up using machine learning type tools. And I'm not sure how all these black boxes work, but they seem to work quite well. And they're highlighting sort of some potential fraud trends that we can then investigate in more detail and put controls in place for. But yeah, I think technology is one part of the challenge. The other one is finding the right people to work on these analytics and machine learning projects. And we've been trying to build up that part of our team since the beginning. We've realized it's part of our strategy and have been investing in it. And so we have a few data analysts who work in our team directly, and then within the broader Old Mutual, we leverage a lot of the company's capability as well.
And I want to say thank you officially and kind of give a little punt to our own training courses, because your team participated in our loyalty training, a 6-week online course. So obviously you're new team members, I assume. And we also have a 3-week data course, which is almost like data for dummies. You know, I'd hate a really clever data analyst to do it because they would find it ridiculous. But for more of the marketing loyalty folks who have to deal with data but don't do the analytics themselves. And I just want, you know, your approach of actually investing in your people to understand, you're right, it's not just about the technology. I see so many organizations who try and run their loyalty program with tech, maybe expensive tech, and one person, and then get frustrated that they don't get the engagement levels that's required. It still needs that human touch. It still needs that ability, but great tech combined, obviously. So I can see a few questions and answers coming in, so I don't want to hog all the limelight. We've got lots of participants on the webinar today, so please everyone put your questions in the Q&A box. I'll ask one more question and then I'll go to the Q&A box. So my last question, it's a bit cheeky, and I already said that we can't predict the future, but you've obviously got a roadmap for a company like Old Mutual wouldn't go without a big strategy process. So what's the short-term roadmap? Anything you can let us know about that we should see coming?
Sure, there's so much on the cards. We're incredibly busy with all sorts of new ideas. I think maybe the first thing to talk about is the digital platforms we use to access our program. That's been a very exciting journey for us. We built the program digitally without a card from the beginning, and our users have been accessing it mainly through our website, whether it's on their phones or their computers. But we're now doing all the work to put it into mobile apps, and we're even building a platform onto WhatsApp and also USSD. So our members will be able to at least see their points balance and tier statuses on those channels, but also some basic redemption activities as well. So
lovely.
those are going to start seeing the light of day over the next few months, and I think that's a big milestone for us. I think some of the other things on our roadmap, in a bit more the medium term, are working on deepening some of our partner relationships. We brought some good partners in, and our members are redeeming points very actively with our partners. But they're asking us for a little bit more, and kind of how can they earn points on a broader spend with those partners? So we're trying to get a bit more into the payment space, partly using Old Mutual banking product and some of the other technologies we have accessible to us, and deepen those partner relationships so that we can can bring in some of these additional earn opportunities for our members. And I think that's going to make it really exciting. And I see that as a big success factor for some of the programs around South Africans. The programs that have established really great partnerships are the ones that have proven to be successful.
Yeah.
So those are just two things. Well, there are many others.
I can see a coalition program structure coming in this direction. Right, I'm going to pick up some questions. I see questions are coming in the chat box. If I may be bossy and ask it to go in the Q&A box, it's just easy for me to monitor one list of questions. So the first one is from Simakele. What did Old Mutual do this time around to ensure that the launch of their loyalty program is a success? What was different from the previous attempts? Great question. Having heard it's your third attempt.
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of understand why we made it successful compared to probably very good people who've tried before. I think the biggest success factor was that we approached it across the whole company, and some of the previous attempts have been looking at it in different departments, different divisions of the organization.
Yeah.
And the key principle for us this time around was the whole of Old Mutual, all our products, every single customer, everybody needs to be able to participate. And through that, we'll be able to build a program that's got enough scale that's going to have real impact. So that was a big difference for us. I think also the maturity of the technology made it a little bit more efficient for us to set up. And I think that had been a big risk factor that had discouraged some of the executives from supporting it before. It was seen as a very expensive, high-risk project to pursue. And then I think the last one was that nobody could argue that the competitors have been quite successful with loyalty programs. 20 years ago and 15 years ago, when all the competitors were starting out, there was a lot of questions about whether it was still a strategy that was going to pan out successfully. These days, when we look around the market and they're very established, strong programs that are making a huge impact, nobody could argue that it's got to be a critical part of anybody's strategy. So,
and we have line of sight of the 2021 Brand Map White Paper, Truth and Brand Map White Paper results. So I'm busy writing not write as we speak, but in this period of time, in these weeks, to prepare our white paper for launch probably in September. There we go, I've put a stake in the ground. And we're seeing South Africans are even more invested in loyalty programs. There's certainly not a decline. South Africans love loyalty programs. They're part of their expectation, and great to see, as you say, your competitor landscape puts pressure, but good to see the consumer landscape does as well. Yeah. Okay, we have a question from Candice. Hi, Candice. Candice is one of the judges on the South African Loyalty Awards. What do you believe are key success factors for your program, specifically for South African member and the South African environment? What's different about running a program like yours in South Africa?
Sure, that's a hard question to answer. There's so many angles to it. I think it's offering real value to the members and making sure that it's something that's meaningful in their lives. And that's always a constant trade-off in dealing with high value customers and some lower value customers that you're trying to develop relationships with, and make sure you can make sure all of them realize some level of value out of the program. Whether it's the tangible financial value and the points that they earn, and the partners you have access to and how they can spend their points, or even the softer stuff. And again, that financial well-being aspect really plays a strong element of this for us. So for many of our customers, they're not getting any real points value until they buy products, but they can get huge value out of the financial well-being tools that we offer. Another big success factor for us, or critical principle that we always try to drive, is to make it easy for our customers, and just the whole customer experience about how to earn your points, how to redeem your points. Our program's not the simplest program out there, and so we really need to spend our time on making sure our processes are simple and they work consistently. That actually they're exciting to engage with. So something that we get a lot of feedback on is our customers say, "This is not the Old Mutual we're used to. It's colourful, it's bright, it's not the traditional green." So bringing in that energy and the ease has been really important for us. And then I think the other one for us, which we're really only starting to realize now, is getting to scale. Been an interesting journey when we first launched. I was talking to partners and saying we're launching a rewards program, and the first question they would ask is, "How many members do you have in your program?" We'd say, "Well, we haven't launched it yet. We've got none. We're Old Mutual. We're going to be big." And could hardly get in the door with some of the partners until we got the scale. And now that we're getting the scale, it's really changing the nature of many of the conversations we have.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. A great question from Kate. Thanks, Kate. She's talked about if you're giving back sort of X percentage of spend to your customers, and obviously the tech investment. You've said yourself, you had to really. You've taken on a sophisticated tech partner in Comarch, and with that comes an investment for the business. What would be your advice to those companies from a profit and loss point of view when it comes to investing in a loyalty program?
Also a hard question, tough question. I think the one realization for me is that there's so many different value adds a program brings to the company that it's quite easy to justify the investment at the end of the day. The accountants looking at it in a very direct way. Where's the spend and where's the profit? And you can generally build a strong business case around that. But when you start looking at the brand support, the customer relationship, the strength of the relationships that level of engagement creates with customers, the level of innovation it drives, level of change it kind of introduces to the company. There's so many angles that almost make having a rewards program a no-brainer to me. And yes, you've got to keep the accountants happy and the executives and the boards happy that you've got a financial business case as well. It's really a strategy that really makes basic sense to do. It's like people don't question that you should be advertising your business if you have a business. I kind of feel loyalty programs should be thought about the same way. It's like every business in some way should have a loyalty program, and it can definitely add value in many, many ways.
I love that. I'm going to quote you, like, it's a no-brainer. Like, come on, it's a no-brainer. I love it. We have a couple of anonymous questions. Anonymous individuals asking the questions. So one of them is, what was the original strategic rationale for starting Old Mutual Rewards? So I think you touched a little bit on this, but let's answer it directly.
Yeah, it was. There were a few things. I think one was recognizing that we were losing ground to our competitors, and it needed to be part of our offering to our customers. There was also a customer drive. There was an expectation from customers to have an offering like this. I think partly because of what the market had exposed people in South Africa to, but also just a general kind of, I'm a loyal customer of yours. Please give me something in return. So those were some of the initial kind of triggers for it, and then the business case was built about kind of some depth of the relationship and that engagement and doing more business with our customers. Yeah,
great. I love that though. I love the fact you've actually said, well, our customers deserve it. They need it. They want it. It's not always internally focused. Two more questions sitting here. Was the program designed for specific different types of customers within Old Mutual, or has it been used more as an acquisition tool? That I particularly love the question, simply from my observation, our observation is how you can join the program without being an Old Mutual customer. And then I'm sure you, as you've said, you can use that funnel very successfully.
Yeah, it was a really interesting decision for us. There's a lot of programs, I think, kind of they give value to the customers at the end of the day, but we were looking at some of our rules and we said, well, what makes a customer of Old Mutual? Do they have to have a savings plan with us? Do they have to have life insurance with us? What about the people who walk into our stores, so to say, who come and they speak to a financial advisor and get a financial plan, but it's probably not the right time for them to actually buy a product from us. Old Mutual's got a lot of branches around the country too, and we give a lot of short-term financing loans through those branches. We've got lots of customers who walk in trying to get lending products from us, and depending on their credit history, we might decline them at that point in time.
Yeah.
But we kind of said, well, we should see those people as customers too, and use this loyalty program, particularly since this talks about financial well-being, to maintain that relationship and to give these customers tools that they continue to use and to kind of keep working with us. And who knows, in a few years' time, they might be in a place where they can become a customer of ours. So it has been a bit of an acquisition tool. But yeah, it's also about looking at the existing customers of Old Mutual, giving them something back. It's that question of, yeah, who do we design for? We've got to design for a low-income person living in a rural area and that high-flying executive who's flying on a plane between Cape Town and Joburg every week.
Yeah.
And that's been a real challenge for us to make sure we've got a flexible enough program that can cater for all types of customers.
Yeah, I think that's such a very typical challenge, particularly in financial services, because, you know, if you're talking to any of the retail banks, whether they've got as you say, a customer who's barely making their breadline versus a customer who's a private clients type client, at the end of the day, they're both customers of the bank and they both deserve the same respect and loyalty.
Yeah.
So a couple more questions. It's great, they're coming in. So forgive me staring at the screen as I read them here. So you mentioned one of the most common redemption options is the reinvestment into your savings products. Did you anticipate this, and what is the uptake of the donating of points? So I guess that's maybe asking a direct question of what sort of percentage is that. You may or may not be able to answer that, but were you anticipating that reinvestment back into your products?
We thought it would be interesting to customers, not quite at the levels we've seen. But I think there's a great story I can tell. So we did quite a lot of research and testing when we were designing the proposition. And we started describing this financial well-being solution, and you could earn points for it. And kind of the natural kind of question all the people in the research groups kept asking as well, if I'm earning these points, can I just add them to my savings plan? And they didn't just kind of expect it, but once we started saying, well, yes, you can, they said, well, wow, that's fantastic, that's distinctive, that'll attract me to the program. So given that kind of response we got out of our testing, we did expect it to happen. And yeah, what we have today is only actually one key option to do that. We want to add a lot more of our products as redemption options in future, and hopefully that'll just see it grow even more. To talk about donations, the donations we haven't seen as popular as we thought it might be. I think there's a small group of customers who see loyalty programs as something extra. They've earned it, great. They're happy to give that money away, and so there's been a consistent stream. It's been interesting. It's come from all different income levels. It's not a more affluent people tend to donate more. It's across income spectrums. We added the Solidarity Fund with the COVID epidemic going on, and that got a lot of attention. So I think we can potentially leverage it more for more campaigns or causes or short-term type donation events in the future.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. We see across a lot of our clients who discuss this with us, the donating of points isn't a huge redemption option. But again, it really is across the different demographics and age groups and income levels. So if I look at the results in the Truth and Brand Map white paper, one of the things we ask is, would you like the ability to donate your points? And typically the younger customer is super interested in doing that. You know, if I look at the philosophy of a lot of the younger customers, it's much more aligned to be able to do that. As I'm talking about that, before I go to the very last question that's on the screen, I remember last year when we launched the Truth and Brand Map white paper, it was the very final day, I think, before we stopped mixing as human beings before the pandemic. And your team actually said in that launch event that your program has attracted a good proportion of youth, definition of youth, a younger customer. Because typically the old mutual brand, ironically in the name, but the old mutual brand, I personally, and forgive me if I'm wrong, wouldn't necessarily say it's directly going to attract a younger customer. But it seems that your program really is proving worthwhile and able to do that.
Yeah, it has. And it was actually interesting to see the insight coming out of your research. That's the Old Mutual Rewards program, I think, was one of 2 programs in South Africa that was really attracting young customers. And that's been, we were aware of it. We weren't aware that we are that unique in terms of achieving it, but it's been really exciting for us at Old Mutual to be able to do that. Because financial services customers generally, it's not just Old Mutual, people tend to buy insurance policies and start saving a little bit later in life. The 30, 40-year-olds are the core of the traditional financial services, insurance and savings type market. And Old Mutual's trying to become a much broader financial services company. We're launching banking propositions. We've got lending solutions. We've got short-term insurance solutions for cars and homes and valuables. And those type of products start appealing to younger customers, but we need to develop our market presence there a lot more. And the rewards program has given us that a good route in. That's if we can build these relationships with the youth who are joining our rewards program, I think it's a great sign for Old Mutual's future if we can convert them into customers when they start buying insurance and saving them for their retirement and the more longer term financial solutions that put in place.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's great to see. Wonder what the 2021 Brand Map white paper will say. Okay.
Looking forward to it, yeah.
Our last question. Again, it's from Semakile Thompson. What was the strategic rationale for deciding on a points-based loyalty program relative to other types of programs?
Yeah, that's a great question too. It was a long debate for us, particularly when our competitors at the time were looking at a lot of tier-based programs where you get a tier, and with your tier structure, you get access to discounts. The points-based program is probably the more traditional type loyalty program. But for us to do it in South Africa in financial services was actually quite different. And one of the key reasons we felt that would work better for us, well, there were a few, but one of the key ones was that to deal with this flexibility of being something for everybody. When a points-based program gives you a lot more options in terms of bringing in partners and allowing people choice of redeeming them. So that was critical for us. The other one was about, we wanted to drive more sort of instant gratification. So we wanted people to realize that they get value immediately, and taking time to work to build up tier status and get access to discounts worked a little bit past that. Our products do that as themselves. You save, and after 10 years you'll get a great payout, but what you get today, and a points program help do that a lot more. So those were two of the key reasons we chose that route.
we often cite that flexibility that the points program gives you as one of the attractive reasons to use it. And there's a lot of misunderstanding in the marketplace, more around a boardroom than there is around consumer understanding around points. A boardroom discussion is always, but no one understands points. But actually, if you look at the results of our annual survey, the Brand Map annual survey, customers really do understand points and they love them. So it's, you know, it's inside out view versus the outside in view, but great, lovely to see. We have one more question. One more question, they keep coming in, so let's keep going if that's okay. From Werner Horn, have you been able to draw on group data for personalization, and how successful has it been?
Yes, we do. I mean, we've been able, it was actually part of the reason I think we got up and running so quickly, is I think Old Mutual had already done quite a lot of work in pulling its group data into one central location. So for us to set up the program, we already had all our customer information in a central client system, and we only needed to build that integration into one or two key points, not into 10 different places around the company. So it's kind of the immediate benefit has more been about the customer experience and the ease of signing up, and the automated way and all your, which most of your points come through. A lot of some of the models that we're trying to leverage these days also have been sort of established in the past based on group data, and we're just adding to them. So it's definitely part of the success. I mean, the other thing Old Mutual does, I think, in terms of data is try to think beyond the data we gather immediately. And there are lots of publicly accessible data sources on customers. How do we link through to those to understand customers' profile? Whether it's the data Home Affairs has, whether it's credit data that the credit bureaus provide, or even stuff that's accessible on sort of home ownership or car ownership and that type of data. It's quite interesting when you pull in the third-party data sources as well. There's quite a rich profile you can build on individuals, which are all very topical now with POPI and data privacy legislation. So doing it in the right way, and the private way and the legal way, but also not the creepy way, I think is really important in terms of doing it right. So.
Absolutely, very hot topic. I think I wish I was a lawyer in data privacy at the moment.
Lots of money there, I'm sure. Yeah.
Great. So I'm just triple checking. Any last minute questions from anybody? Brett, that was absolutely fascinating. You've been incredibly generous with your answers, which is always what we want and encourage. So thank you. Really interesting program you're running. I've thoroughly enjoyed today. I thoroughly enjoyed learning more about it. And your philosophy as a brand is obviously shining through you and through the program. So from all of us, we have the opportunity at Truth to meet a lot of the loyalty leaders in South Africa and globally, and I've really enjoyed today, and I really thank you for sharing so much with us. We've had a thank you from Belinda Brink. Belinda is from Clicks, you probably know her, but thanks Belinda, you're always one of our loyal supporters watching these webinars. So thanks a lot, Brent, and really look forward to chatting to you further. We've got years ahead of us to keep talking about the success of this great program, and good luck in the loyalty awards. That process is really happening as we speak, so those results will be out end of October.
Yeah, thanks for making the opportunity today. It's great talking to you and interacting with your listeners and all the questions coming through. Yeah, and very much looking forward to your next survey and the loyalty awards. I think these are all great initiatives you're doing for the loyalty industry in South Africa. So thanks very much to you for all that you do. I think it's fantastic work.
Thanks, Brett. So just actually for those of you who are listening, the timings will be in September. I'm not putting an actual day on it, but in September we will launch the Truth and Brand Map 2021 white paper. And then the loyalty awards, we're just finalizing the dates, will be released again as part of our Leaders in Loyalty conference online summit And it's either the very end of October or the very start of November. It's the process we have to go through to triple check all the judging process. So we'll obviously communicate those dates through our mailing list. And then this webinar is obviously fully available. We get it loaded on our website and then we'll issue it through our mailing list as well. So thanks a lot.
Super.
Been
thanks, Amanda.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Brett. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye all.